Too sweet!
Hi, welcome to JD Sports. I'm Jarrett Hood. That's Dwight Garfield. You can find our personal Twitters at the show's Twitter page, which is @_JD Sports. Getting into it this week, Dwight, the NBA. Now, would you like to cover the last round and then kind of preview this round? Or do you kind of want to just dive into this round here? I mean, I know...
We might as well just dive into the last round a bit.
Okay, well...
Just go from there and see what goes on.
I think we would have to start off with Oklahoma City taking a step over San Antonio, getting over that hump, which, you know, they for years have had this struggle or that struggle with them.
Mm-hmm.
Oklahoma City, everyone counted them out. After, going into the series, everyone counted them out. After that first game on a Saturday, myself as well. First game on a Saturday, everyone counted them out. Even up 3-2, we kind of thought there was a chance San Antonio would still win that series.
Because of who they are.
And it just never came together. I mean, San Antonio, and we both picked San Antonio before the series. I actually picked San Antonio before the year to go to the finals. I took it back before the playoffs because just how good the Warriors played all season. We'll get into that in a second. But San Antonio, for the first time all season, they looked old, they looked slow, they looked weak.
Did they?
At times, because Aldridge, once he wasn't making shots consistently, everything else started showing. Parker didn't have the step there that he usually has. I mean, it seemed like he was a step behind of what he was doing in years past. Even though at times he carried that team through stretches, it wasn't what he was doing in years past. Ginobili, he wasn't stepping up and getting those extra big buckets the way he was. In the last 5 minutes of games, right? Because throughout the entire game, they played really good, really close games. You know me, I'm the guy who says there's 5 guys on the other side of the court trying to stop them. So there is something to that logic. But going throughout the course of those games, up until the fourth quarter, even up until 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, they were all good, close games, except for that first game, obviously, that San Antonio won. But un-San Antonio-like and very un-Oklahoma City-like, one collapsed and one did really well, and San Antonio was the one that collapsed and Oklahoma City was the one that did well. And that's not a trend we've seen in recent years, especially this year in general. They went into San Antonio and they won twice in San Antonio. San Antonio lost once at home all season.
Yeah, it's impressive.
And yes, I don't disagree.
We have to give OKC credit.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not trying to diminish what they did.
I mean, they took a step over Oklahoma City there. They figured out how to shut Aldridge down, which everyone thought they didn't have the big man play, and they got that done.
With Aldridge, I kind of feel like he just kind of choked under the pressure. Honestly, like it seemed like because Duncan was struggling, like you said, the other big three or whatever you want to call them, they were kind of hit and miss here and there. Duncan actually finally showed up in the final game where it really mattered.
In Game 6.
A lot of people say, well, he just got old. I don't know, because Game 6 he balled out like he was, and the whole season he was doing that. So I don't know if it's a case where he just got old. I think he was maybe more so just tired in general from the stretches of games.
Was that a could that have been a last hurrah? Like, he hasn't played well in particularly this entire season, but that series itself, that was probably the worst we've seen Tim Duncan, the oldest, the just not what you want to see him go out on. And then do you think that was just him mustering up one more effort, one more?
That's possible. I mean,
show the world, and that's it. Or to your logic, is that I still got it?
It's so hard to say because he was because he was so good, and then he wasn't great, but he was decent enough that it was respectable. Was that his big last to Rodgers' show? I wasn't washed up, but I'm going to walk away. Possibly, I think he actually could walk away. A lot of people think that he won't. I think he actually will.
The only way he doesn't walk away, in my eyes, is if he accepts a lesser role, because it's obvious that from this season he just can't do the things that they were asking of him overall. They got to get somebody to step into that place, which is fine. That's completely fine.
And that was supposed to be Aldridge, but he pretty much just choked under pressure.
I mean, he
wasn't making shots.
He had a great first 3 games of that series, and then I don't know what happened. I mean, it looks miserable down the stretch for the rest of the series for him. Duncan comes in and kind of saves the day because he looked really bad in that Game 6. As well. If this is the last game for either Parker, Ginobili, or Duncan, let's say even in a San Antonio uniform, I know Parker probably won't retire, but he might go to somewhere else because Mike Conley is the rumor of going to San Antonio. You can't work with both those point guards. That's off-season talk. That's talk we'll get to in a minute. But Ginobili and Duncan are both kind of in the air about retiring. So let's just say one of those two do retire. that was the winningest trio of basketball in all time.
I was gonna say you would have to put that little
with
that unit.
And you have to say Popovich as well because he's as big a part of this as anybody.
You would have to say that unit was the most, if not easily top 5 minimum trio, little team or clique, whatever you want to call it, of all time.
The longevity is incredible between the three of them.
It's insane.
They won.
Nothing has been more consistent in the past 20 years.
That trio alone has won it in 2 different decades, and the Spurs have won it in 3. That trio alone did it in 2 different decades. I think 4 times in those 2 decades, and they went to the finals 5, I think, or 6. So I mean, impressive in the Western Conference Finals. However many other times. Speaking of impressive. And we didn't give Oklahoma City a whole lot of love or thoughts going into the series. This is, them winning and going to the Western Conference Finals. That's the 4th time in the last 6 years that they will be in the Western Conference Finals. And with that said, the 2 years that they didn't make it, 1 year Durant was hurt, and the other year Westbrook was hurt. So there is something to what they're doing, and getting over the hump of San Antonio. That's something that they've struggled with San Antonio for so long.
Everybody has.
Yeah, who hasn't, right? Exactly. And they were just so dominant that Durant and Westbrook particularly were so dominant, such a force. We keep just talking about how it's a foregone conclusion that Durant's just going to leave and Westbrook's going to leave, but you sit back and you think of it from that perspective. Obviously, we have to see how it all shakes out, but going forward never hurts. And going forward as much as they have, if you really put it into that perspective, I mean, that's something that's going to be hard to walk away from in general.
Well, yeah, we both said on the show before that we weren't sure how far they want to keep going with these two just balling out, and it's just only them.
Yeah.
And that's what actually got them to defeat San Antonio. I just can't buy. I don't know. There's just something about it because at least you can make the argument. Well, Pippen and Jordan. Well, it was just those two. Yeah, but they also had a solid foundation of a team that was contributing enough, and I don't know if OKC just has half of that at least. I don't feel that way. I feel like it's legitimately just Durant and it's legitimately just Russell. I don't feel like it's a collective effort ever. I always feel like it's just those two.
It's one of those two.
I just can't see
taking
that
off.
Yeah, I just can't see that being a success as a championship team.
I don't disagree.
Who wants
with
to play with them though? That's I don't know who would want to go to an OKC to play with them.
My other thought process: how good were they when they had Harden? They had a guy who literally was obviously focused on offense and a very good offensive talent. I mean, that was their best years when they did have a third guy. So that's also, something to add into the mix. But who would that third guy be? There's so many questions down the road there. We're going to get to them in a second. They're playing Golden State, who had a pretty impressive series themselves. Every game, for it only being, it was a 5-game series? Every game was close for it being a 5-game series. It only took Steph, 40-some minutes to knock the rust off. He had that great overtime. And the rest of the series, he balled out.
Went right back into form.
Very close games, but he was, very good down the stretch in all of them. He did what he had to do. Golden State wins that, but shout out to the Trailblazers who weren't expected to make the playoffs, weren't expected to get to the second round, weren't expected to even compete with the Warriors, and that was the closest 5-game series against a 70-plus win team I've ever seen. So
I gave them absolutely zero chance of making the playoffs. Especially you lose Aldridge, you lose
Wes Matthews,
Nicholas Batum. You lost your core that I thought could
outside
actually
of
compete.
Lillard, right.
I thought they could compete as a unit, years down the road and just continue to build kind of like similar to the Grizzlies in a way, but to lose all that and just pretty much go with Lillard and what's the shooting
CJ
guard?
McCollum
To run with just that little. It's impressive.
Yeah, no,
it's impressive.
It is.
Hats off to them.
Yeah, they played a really good series, but Golden State did what they do. Yeah. They dominated. They handled their business down the stretch, which they always do. So, moving on to the East, though, first series was a sleeper, Atlanta and Cleveland. We talked about that. Cleveland dominated. That was last week's news to us.
Yeah.
The bigger series was a 7-game series where the better storyline would have been if Miami wins, and then you get Miami and LeBron and, the matchup.
Everybody wanted it.
The better basketball series, but does that matter?
Apparently not.
What is Toronto versus Cleveland? Toronto wins Game 7. You dogged Lowry and Rosen.
I dogged that entire team.
DeRozan through the first 3.5 quarters played excellent, and then when he wasn't playing excellent, Lowry played excellent in Game 7, and they completely in the second half blew Miami out of the water.
Right.
They made it to the Eastern Conference Finals.
So are you asking me, do I feel some type of way about that, or do I want to take it back?
Different about them? Do you think that if they would have played Atlanta or the Blazers, do you think they could beat the Trailblazers in the 7-game series?
Who, the Raptors?
Yes.
No. my problem with...
I just wanted to see where your respect
regardless, yes, okay.
I needed a gauge.
To their credit, yeah, they beat the Miami Heat, which I as stupid, as dumb as it sounds, I still feel like the Miami Heat, from start to finish, is a better team. I know they lost, so that doesn't make any sense. But I'm talking about just talent-wise. And to their credit, they managed to flip the script a little bit. They got better, and they did enough to win that series. It makes sense. I get it. Congratulations to them. The problem is, and the reason why I still have zero faith in them, not just because they're facing the Cleveland Cavaliers, but because this whole playoff run has been the exact same story, which is they're too inconsistent. Every game, it could be, like Lowry he could shoot let's say 100% one night, but then he could shoot 40% the next game. And the same thing with DeRozan. They're too inconsistent, and the team as a whole is too inconsistent. I don't know how you win a championship like that. Well, I don't know how you beat the Cleveland Cavaliers that.
If you lose four times in a series, you can't advance. They've lost 3 twice. So I mean,
the Heat. I can't say that the Heat were that much better. Obviously, if you go back-to-back 7-game series.
My other thought process is: are they much better than Toronto? I mean, I know you said roster top to bottom, and I might not even disagree with you. Top to bottom, that Miami might be better. But maybe it's not. Are one's just a day riper than another?
Fair enough. I also look at, it could be just an excuse, but whatever. They also lost Whiteside, which was a huge part of offense, a huge, even
Toronto
bigger
lost
part.
Kyle just as big though. Both. That was their centerpieces.
I look at it bigger for Miami side because that is their big. They're as far as bigs are concerned. Right. It's not there.
Toronto has two guys not good, but they can step in.
They're
there. Their bodies.
Miami's just too small.
The other part of this is now Wade's a little older and he played a fantastic series even though they lost.
He wanted it. He wanted it. He's the only one who wanted it.
He wanted to play LeBron. But that's why Bosch I think wanted to go in so bad too because he wanted it for the same reason. But my other thought is Toronto. DeRozan, Lowry, and DeMarre Carroll are all playing with significant injuries. And they still did what they did. So I give them a little credit for, that's mustering up against yes, it's an older D Wade. Yes, it's a depleted Miami team. But he still did it against one of, Miami, a juggernaut of the East over the last couple of years. Yes, they're a 3 seed and they're really probably, both teams would get destroyed by Cleveland, everybody thinks. So, It was entertaining.
And we can't take away. I can't take away the fact that they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals.
They played very well too in that Game 7.
I still will say that they're. I still stand that I think that they're, and especially now that they're in the Eastern Conference Finals, that they're just an overachieving team. That I don't. It's call me a hater. I guess that's just what I have to be. I'm a hater because to me they're overachieving something fierce. I feel like they're about to get smacked in the mouth by Cleveland.
I was gonna say, so we're gonna move on to this round. I don't want to spend a lot of time on the East because I think we both feel the same way. You just said that you think Cleveland's gonna beat them.
And get smacked in the mouth.
I think Cleveland's gonna beat them as well. I think that LeBron's gonna take over. I would like to see Cleveland try to go for the sweep. It's a lot harder done than said because you're playing another team, so it is going to be difficult. But I think as good as Cleveland is, they have the opportunity to sweep this team as well, and especially with the Raptors being depleted a little bit, coming off 14 games, you've only played 8 in the last month, so there's just a lot of things that go.
Cleveland's just that much better, dude. And I actually tweeted on our page. I said before the game 1 started, because actually Game 1's taking place as we're recording this, so. Before the game started, I actually tweeted out on our page, I said Cleveland would win in 5 because I'm a nice guy. But I wasn't confident in that whatsoever. They could just as easily sweep it. I won't be surprised, obviously. But I felt generous in the moment. And judging by the way the score is looking as we're recording this, I'm feeling like an idiot. But
Well, we will see.
I just don't buy into Toronto having a chance, really. It's LeBron. It's Cavaliers. They're too stacked.
I agree.
Toronto's overachieving.
Yep.
It's just too fitting that it's going to go the way that Game 1 is clearly going to go.
The bigger series is the West Series.
The girl man series.
We have a game in, and there will be another game done before this recording is up, most likely. But
maybe.
But Game 1, Oklahoma City steals because they were down by double digit at half. They were down in the fourth quarter. Next thing you know, the game flips. They take the lead.
Right.
Westbrook rattled off 21 straight at one point in the third quarter.
He just blew up. It didn't make any sense.
He had a bunch of assists, a bunch of steals.
He did absolutely none in the first half.
Couple rebounds.
Hey, shout out to him for doing that.
He was impressive in that second half. And KD went cold in the second half when he played really good in the first half. But KD makes probably, it's hard to say a Game 1 of any series could be the biggest shot of his career. But he made a shot that sealed that game. And that was one of the bigger shots of his career. And he nailed it. He drained it after having a really bad fourth quarter. Westbrook passed it off to him, even though Durant was having a bad fourth quarter and Westbrook had an amazing second half. He still passed it off to KD and gave KD that opportunity to ice the game, and he did.
That's what he does.
That was impressive. The game was impressive. Steph looked a little, I don't want to say rattled, okay?
Don't say that.
But he missed more shots than he usually does.
In the fourth quarter, yes. He did. He doesn't get a pass on that. He doesn't.
Okay.
He doesn't. You already know I'm not going to give him a pass because I'm not that type of person. No, Steph Curry, you do not get a pass for playing the way that you did in the fourth quarter. And saying that, there's a bigger problem.
Nobody else on the Warriors was making a three. And
well, that's also a problem.
To me, that is actually what made the difference in this game because that Oklahoma City took them out. But I would like to hear your problem.
The biggest problem is the no call. Yet again, by this NBA officiating crew, which has been one of the most catastrophic officiating playoff runs I can ever recall. Like, it's just every single game. And we did touch base on it on San Antonio because I was waiting to this point. But San Antonio, if you're asking me, they got screwed out of. People they keep talking about Game 5 where they got screwed with the shove and whatnot. There was another game. I don't remember what number it was, but there was 2 games actually where the
game ended bad.
Yeah, and it was a situation where San Antonio would have had an opportunity to at least score. I get it. People are going to say, well, the whole game is determined by one call. Yes and no. You can't have it both ways. I hate when fans say, well, there's so many minutes of the game you can win. Yes, but you also can't give these officials a pass. And going back to OKC and the Warriors situation, Westbrook traveled. And what's bad is when you see the entire arena. And when I say the entire arena, it wasn't just 5 or 6, 10 people. It was look at the replay. The entire arena went like this. Steve Kerr almost had a heart attack, and he's not healthy as it is, so that wouldn't have been good for him. What?
I know that.
Why? That's not okay. And that's what I was getting at with Steph's bad shooting is that he's the type of person that I don't care if he's 1 of 20. If you put the ball in his hands, I'm saying he's going to make that. It's not okay.
Let me try to put it to you this way.
It's not okay.
Let me try to put it to you this way.
You're not going to make it okay for me.
The reason that I can accept
don't say that.
The thought of, well, you're not worried about it happening in the first 5 minutes of the game is because, to be honest with you, the reason you're not worried about it happening in the first 5 minutes of the game is because you can sit back and realistically look at it as these people are human and that they're missing it, and that's kind of part of, there is no... If there was a way to fix it, it would have been fixed by now. As somebody who has been watching the MLB for years just struggle in the postseason with their officiating, their umpires are miserable in the postseason. The NBA is having an MLB-type postseason where it is
absolutely miserable.
Where their officiating is just getting absolutely dumped on.
As they should be.
But as I sit back...
They don't get a pass.
I don't disagree...
Don't give them... Stop. Don't defend it.
Until somebody gives me a way to make it better, I'm tired of hearing everyone just be upset about it.
I don't know. Get better officials that know what they're doing. I don't know.
But
coach them up. Do what you got to do, NBA. This is disgusting.
I mean, I don't know. Look, I don't know this. I don't know this. I know that the NHL has camps and stuff like that. Does the NBA have ref camps and have, you know what I mean?
I don't know. They need something.
Training things for them, because if they don't, then they need to get it, because it's more athletic than it ever has been. The game is faster, stronger, bigger than it has ever been.
The NBA's making...
He missed that call because he was trailing. He was trailing the play. He was 5 steps behind Westbrook. Westbrook got the ball.
No, he was right there.
He
saw it.
I'm not saying he didn't see it, but he was at a bad angle and he was 5 steps behind him. Is that because he's not as in shape as Westbrook? Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Are we talking about the referees?
Yeah. Is this the way to fix it though? Like, I'm trying to figure out how to fix it.
I don't know how to fix it. How do you fix a referee claiming he didn't see the shove in the San Antonio game? Look, you're the biggest conspiracy sports theorist I've ever seen. Why is it that 3 occasions where we're talking about officials, it's been in Oklahoma's favor? I'm just saying.
All 3 of them have been against 2 teams. Oklahoma City...
All of them hasn't been in favor in OKC, and they won all 3 games.
It would be good for the league for Durant to stay in Oklahoma City.
It's not good.
Oklahoma City has done... the entire NBA only beat the Warriors and San Antonio in their buildings, right? Combined 3 times this season. Mm-hmm. The last 3 times that Oklahoma City has played against San Antonio or the Warriors on the road, they have won. That's impressive.
I mean, it's impressive, but
they have another shot at it probably before the show goes up. So we'll, that I don't know. I just, we're talking about the official thing. It just like
I feel it can't be ignored. Like a lot of people want it to be.
When holding or pass interference isn't called in the first half, my only hope is that it's just not called in the second half. So I don't know if they would miss people. I just because until somebody can give me, but I'm not making excuses. I'm trying to say until somebody can give me a solution to make it better.
I don't know what the solution is. That's not my job. I don't get paid to figure that out.
As I'm saying, I'm not giving excuses. I'm just accepting the fact that I can't change it and I don't know how to change it.
And that's probably what the biggest problem is. I feel like if more people felt outraged instead of me watching these damn sports shows and these people that are actually getting paid to do this shit saying, well, there's X amount of minutes in the game. That's not okay. Have more of an outrage, because guess what? There's strength in numbers. If more of us bitch about it, then something will be get done. And somebody that gets paid to do this shit will figure it out. Somebody like you and I that don't get paid to do this shit and just does it for the fuck of it.
Yeah.
We don't have to come up with this situation. Don't ask me what the solution is. I don't get paid to. That's Adam Silver's job, and hopefully he does something, because this is disgusting. Yes. We're having teams losing their entire seasons. We had Frank Vogel lose his job basically because he lost a series and he should have won, or potentially been in a situation to win it. It's not okay. It's not okay.
I don't disagree that it's not okay. I just... There is no way to prevent it at this point. There is no way to change it. Do you know what I'm saying? So
we should put an asterisk on this NBA title if OKC goes and wins it?
No, because it's part of the game. But there's... Do you think that these things are not getting missed in the regular season as well?
No, it is, but it just means so much more when seasons and jobs are on the line. I'm not saying it's definitely not right in NBA's in the regular season. This is what I'm getting at, is that the outrage should just be just as much throughout, and to shrug it off is bullshit to me. I don't care if it's my team or not. It's not acceptable.
I don't just shrug it off. I look at it as until somebody gives me a better system of fixing it, because I don't think there is a 100 proof system. Is I guess where I'm at is I think it's an inexact science that will never be figured out. And if somebody does, great. I'm all for it, and I hope it happens. But as of this moment, as of 2016, it's part of the game.
Yeah, we're talking about rather, okay, if I do this, is it a foul or not? Okay, no, that makes sense. But when we're talking about pivot foot moving, that's a travel. That's NBA 101. Referees in high school gyms know this.
I'm going to put up something.
Doing this on an inbound?
Yeah.
You mean NBA high school coaches don't know that that's a foul as well? Like, this is basic shit that people are missing.
I want to bring...
It's like the LeBron crab step that is a travel, and people are like, no, he's not traveling. Yes, the fuck it is. It's a travel.
I want to bring this part up.
They're not missing hard shit. They're missing easy, basic NBA fundamentals officiating.
I want to bring this point up, and maybe it'll help a little bit with your thought process. And it's something that we both love. talking about something that we both love. Okay, so shout out to a show we both enjoy, PTI on ESPN. They
I love them.
had Reggie Miller on. Okay, and
I love Reggie Miller.
I do too. So I knew that. So again, it's also something we love. He was talking about when he scored all those points against the Knicks at the end of the game. The refs missed him shoving somebody. I mean, they missed him pushing a player to the ground before the inbound pass.
Right.
They did not call it. It should have been called, and his historical moment never happens. He said that refs swallow their whistle. He said because you go watch the Jordan, his biggest shot of his career, Game 6. Again, Jordan throws the guy. I mean, Jordan literally
and it's a legendary moment. Is that okay, though?
You're outraged at the moment about what Westbrook just did.
I'm not saying Jordan shove is okay. I never said it was okay.
We don't have those moments, though, without it. So without the human error that is happening so bad and hurting so do you understand what I'm saying?
So you're saying that Utah potentially could have won an NBA championship?
I'm saying that Jordan's most iconic moment doesn't happen without.
And most people say that it was a shove, except Jordan.
It was.
So,
it was.
And Reggie Miller, it's funny that he says that because he asked about it in commentary, he's like, no, I didn't shove. I never did.
I mean, he
fights it all. That's funny.
Played it off for like the first 30 seconds, and he was like, no, what, me, never. But then he was like, no. He was like, but seriously, he said it was a light shove, and it was. Look, go back on the replay. It was he didn't like push the. It was a shove. It wasn't a light shove, but it should have been called. I mean, it should have been called. And Jordan
either call it consistently or don't call it consistently.
But it was maybe
don't do both.
Maybe it was just missed like game 1 in Oklahoma City. But
yeah, what are these refs making that they are missing these calls? I'm just saying.
We'll talk about conspiracy. The NBA draft. The lottery was.
This is your conspiracy.
The lottery went chalk this year. As a Sixers fan, obviously, I'm happy that the Sixers have the number 1 pick. As a Lakers fan, you should be happy that the Lakers are inside the top 3. They're number 2. But you should be happy that they're inside the top 3 because if they were outside the top 3, the Sixers would have their pick.
As a Lakers fan, I'm ashamed that we're even in the conversation.
You have the number 2 pick overall. You're going to get Ingram or Simmons, whoever the Sixers don't pick. But here's,
whichever one is the snitch, I'll take.
I guess we should kind of elaborate on my conspiracy thought.
That's cool.
It's never something we've really talked about on here. And you said conspiracy, and now
this is your conspiracy.
Yeah, but now I feel obligated that I have to bring it up, and I'm not.
You're not getting paid. You're not contractually obligated by ESPN or the NBA or ABC or Disney or any of these people. We would like to, but I mean.
All right, so Sam Hinkie trades Drew Holiday and a couple other players away on draft day a couple years back, right? Sixers start the tanking process. The year after was the first year that the lottery was not shown on TV. The balls weren't picked on TV. That was the first year that they just brought out cards and they said who won it.
Yeah, that's shady.
When they did that, I was like, well, they just didn't want the Sixers to get the top pick because they were angry at the Sixers organization. A couple years later, the Sixers.
Everybody hates your team, don't you?
No, not in any way, shape, or form. The numbers of the draft lottery go against odds. Like actual, if you ran them over 5,000 times, they would never come out the way that they came out since the lottery has started. It's happening against the odds too often for it not to be almost rigged at this point. But my thing here is that the Sixers have now followed the rules. They got rid of Hinkie. They put in Colangelo, which that's who the NBA wanted in there. They had people watching them on the bench and from afar, and then voila, the balls aren't on TV and the Sixers have the number 1 pick. We have to have a better system. There has to be we need to show the balls on TV. I think that is the most ridiculous thing in the world. You need to show the balls on TV.
I 1,000% agree.
B, even though my team, the Sixers, did it, you and I both know how I feel about the whole tanking and the whole how you're supposed to. I don't like that teams in America get rewarded for being bad. There has to be a way. Europe has figured out systems where their teams do everything they possibly cannot to not be bad. There was a team that finished in last place in their league, in an Australian league, in the highest Australian soccer league last week. Their fans burnt their stadium down.
It's beautiful. Because as shitty as that sounds, that just shows how
they were like, you know what? We're not going to come next year when you're in the minor league.
The Sixers are actually very fortunate their arena has been burned out.
They'd be in the D League by now, right? And
they are
the fans would throw fire onto the stadium and burn the stadium down.
You know, real quick point, not to cut you off. It's funny because earlier today I was actually thinking about this when we were talking about the NBA officiating. I was like, man, if this was a soccer game, these missed calls, the fans would look.
I mean, I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that. I was thinking
about that earlier, not to cut you off. Go ahead.
That's a really good point because it adds to what I'm. You know what I mean? Like it just. So we need to stop. We need to stop congratulating these teams for doing bad. But the Sixers followed the rules.
We need to stop letting shit slide.
They got the number 1 pick. I'm cool with it. I'm happy. Unfortunately, they didn't get the Lakers pick. Kind of figured that was going to happen because it's rigged. I mean, because it's rigged, and they still want the Lakers to get a top 5 pick. They want to have a top 2 pick, so it makes sense. But it's cool. I hope the Sixers take Wiggins because I think Wiggins is the guy. I mean, we'll talk draft a little. You know, we'll talk the week after the finals because it's only a week after that. Usually the draft. I know you don't like draft talk, but we'll get into it a little bit. I'll talk about why I would rather Simmons over Ingram when we get there.
You thought I hate NFL draft talk? I wouldn't talk about it.
I do have a small I'm just saying to end the show, though.
That's my favorite part of the year. Yeah, I said the year.
The year? Okay.
I did say that's my favorite part of the year. I'm just saying.
My I'm just saying is about baseball as a whole. Like, as an entire...
And that could really be my I'm just saying.
Just... Not the MLB, but the MLB, I guess. But I just the whole... And it was going to just be about, you know, the situation with Odor and Bautista.
2 guys actually... pretend to be tough guys. They actually show that they were kind of...
They got into a fight, and this fight started about 9 months ago in Toronto.
For what?
In a playoff game. I think it was the 6th or 7th inning of a close game. Toronto and Texas were playing an elimination game. Bautista hits a huge home run, basically puts the game out of reach. He does a bat flip, which is one of the most epic big bat flips.
Freaking kidding me.
They get into a fight the inning after. Things go a little haywire. The Blue Jays move on. They have now played 6 times going into Sunday. They played each other 6 times since that game. Sunday was the last time that they were going to play in this season unless they meet up in the playoffs. So, late in the game, Bautista's up at the bat, and they decide to bring up bad blood, and they throw a 97-mile-an-hour fastball at him, which they were aiming for his head. It hit him in the back, but they were aiming for his head. He goes down to first base. Now, and I say this, the reason that he didn't charge the mound is because the guy who threw the fastball at him, he understood that he was told by somebody else to do that because that guy was in jail last year when that fight happened in Toronto. He wasn't even on the team. He wasn't even in the MLB. Jose Bautista knew that guy had nothing to do with this, so he wasn't going to go after him. But he did still want to send a message, so ground ball, starts to go to a double play. He blatantly, late, far slide, runs the shortstop over Odor. Odor doesn't even throw the ball to first. He actually whipped the ball towards Bautista, so then Bautista gets up, all angry. And as Bomani Jones says, Bautista was getting ready while Odor stayed ready. Because he locked him. I mean, that was a triple G punch.
I did see that.
Knocked the helmet off, knocked the glasses off. But what I'm just saying is...
I saw that.
The MLB goes and suspends everybody involved with this, right? Everybody except
minimum games. Minimum.
Yeah. Bautista got one for the slide.
One.
He should. Okay, but I'm just gonna go to the whole roundabout entire thing. Odor got 8, which is the highest. Which is the minimum that he could get for what he did. The Blue Jays manager got ejected from the game, came back out on the field during the fight, so he got 3 because that's just in the rule book. You can't do that when you get ejected. Yeah. But here's my thing, and I don't think that the Rangers manager should get suspended because the Blue Jays manager got suspended. I think the Rangers manager should get suspended because he's the one who called for this intentional pitch, right? And if he didn't call for it, he's the manager of the team, so he knew who called for it and he didn't call it off.
Right.
The shortstop went on the field going into that inning knowing that emotions were going to be running high. Bautista had no clue he was going to get thrown at. Okay, Bautista had no clue he was going to get thrown at. So I assume that the Rangers, when running on the field, already thought there was going to be a fight at the mound, where Toronto didn't, right? So then he gets thrown at and he doesn't he doesn't charge the mound the way they expect. Energy and emotions were still running high. Bautista makes that slide, and I mean, he was ready, like the shortstop was ready to fight before he even walked on the field, and that is the manager's fault in my eyes. This could have all been avoided, this should have all been avoided, and if you're going to police yourself, which I'm just saying as the MLB as a whole is, this is the most ridiculous thing in the world that we are fighting over something that happened 9 months ago because you want to police yourself. If you're going to police yourself, do it in his first at bat, the first time you see him, the next time you see him. Settle business, and settle with somebody who was involved in the original fight. Not go coward about it with somebody who wasn't even on your team when this happened, because you knew Bautista, he wasn't going to go charge the mound after a pitcher who wasn't involved in that last year. He's smart enough to know that somebody told him to do that. You know, he didn't go out there and just, I'm gonna hit Bautista for what happened last year to my teammates. No. We live in 2016. That doesn't happen that way. The great part about it is there is real bad blood. Like, you don't actually see hatred in sports anymore. So it is, if they were to play in a series, it would be fun to watch, right? Because you don't get that anymore.
Area. Such a gray area. I love to see hatred in sports.
It only happens in college anymore. No. I'm not naive enough to think that in the pros there's a real chance of us ever getting... hockey, maybe, but they're all friends at the end of it in hockey usually still. I mean, hockey, I
don't want to see a bunch of KDs and LeBrons hanging out after...
But they all do. It's too late. It's too late. We're way too far for that.
But at the same time, you can't go on the opposite side of the spectrum and just want to brawl out over something that happened 9 months ago with somebody that doesn't, like, that's like you and I getting in a fight.
I think it's ridiculous that they want to.
That's like you and I going at it, and then I ask somebody else to beat you up 9 months later.
You're right.
Had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, but then
for no reason. You don't even know why this is going on.
Right, exactly. Yes. But so...
Major League Vikings, MLB, that's what we're going to start calling them, MLB.
But let's go I want to take this a step further when I'm talking about the MLB as a whole.
MLB.
The reason that this fight started, and the reason that we're policing ourselves, which I have an issue with the fight happening, I have an issue with the way it started, I have a problem with them policing themselves so far later, and when they police themselves, I don't really like that they were going to do it in the first place, because I don't think you need to throw a 97-mile-an-hour fastball at him in the first time you see him or the last time you see him.
So reckless.
But can we just go back to the actual bat flip itself? Why are we so against, like... That was probably the biggest hit of his life.
Petty.
And he got excited and he threw a bat in the air.
When I used to play baseball in like gym class and shit, I didn't flip it, but I would throw it, and people were like, "Why are you throwing a bat?" I'm like, "I'm just trying to like get rid of it and go to the base." And people get mad about that. I wasn't even flipping it; I was throwing it to the side.
Chase Utley,
and that's a problem.
Chase Utley, when he would hit a big home run in Philly, he would throw the bat as hard as he can on the ground, and like that was
because you're hype and you got all that adrenaline.
Yeah, like that was his kind of thing, and I used to always think, why is that acceptable? But if he were to throw that bat the opposite direction as hard as he threw it down, it's a problem.
You're taunting.
It just
you're going against.
You know how I feel. I love
tradition.
I love Cam Newton. I love Allen Iverson.
Going against tradition.
Dale Earnhardt was one of my favorite athletes growing up. I like outlandish, loud, people in your face. Mm-hmm. This is how it goes. So bat flips to me were never a problem. Like
I don't think that's outlandish.
No, I don't. I don't either. But like baseball can't stand it. Bryce Harper thinks it's good. Bryce Harper thinks they should do it more. I think Stanton hitting these home runs 500,000 plus feet that just go forever. I think I would love to see it end with a bat flip every time he hits it, even when it happens against the Phillies.
So it's not okay for you to bat flip, but it's okay for you to crack a home run and then just drop it like you're dropping a mic. That's okay. That's not taunting. Because to me, they're both taunting, and so what's the difference?
If you go around the bases,
Barry Bonds, when he used to hit it, what would he do? He would drop it.
And watch it.
Well, and I've also seen him drop it like a mic.
He got beamed. Yeah, he would drop his bat like the mic. He got beamed a good amount of times for standing and watching his balls. But I don't.
It's petty baseball, old school, old mindset we talked about before, dude. They're too old school. They're too tied up in their ways. They can't grow and adapt.
I'm one of the only people in my age group that watches baseball from April until the end of the season. I mean, most of my friends don't watch baseball, and most of my friends that do watch baseball don't start watching until August, and even most of them don't actually start watching it until the playoffs. So
most people don't.
But it's because of things, like, yes, this has made the game more exciting. This fight, drew attention to baseball at a time where baseball usually doesn't get. Is there for baseball right now? Is there any such thing as bad publicity?
No,
you got the top story on SportsCenter.
Yeah, but then you also hear these frauds that talk about, well, it's bad for the game, and these the same people that think that fights in hockey are okay. So I mean,
people
if you feel that way, then you're a fraud.
Most of the people who think it's really bad for the game, though, are older people involved with the sport.
And they're okay with hockey fights. That don't make sense either. You can't have it both ways, in my opinion.
I feel like I could go all night.
Or you can, and I know people can also go like they don't like taunting in baseball, but taunting in the NFL is like, oh, it's no fun league. It sucks. Why can't they celebrate after a touchdown? I'm not even talking about Cam Newton. No. I mean receivers in general. People were just like, oh, well, why can't they?
T.O. things like that. Yeah.
I loved it when T.O. did it. I love it when people flip back. If you're doing what you're supposed to do, you back up what you say. I am 1,000% for it.
We grew up in
It's the people that talk shit and don't back it up that I have no respect for. You need to shut up and sit down.
We grew up in a different era though, like where
I guess
we like the flashiness. That our generation is more tolerable to being happy about you succeeding in doing something. Like you know what I mean? Like be excited. And I don't necessarily think that because he flipped a bat that he was taunting somebody the way that you feel that way. Just like I don't think that when Cam Newton does a little dance and then a first down thing, I don't think he's trying to do it to showboat over the other defense. I think he's just excited that he did.
Dude, in grade school when I would score a touchdown in gym class, you know what I was doing? The Dion behind the head. Everybody of our generation was doing it.
I was an Eagles fan. I'm an Eagles fan. I do the Dion.
Everybody.
Should I still do the Dion and pick up?
Or the Dirty Bird. Everybody was doing that because it was fun and we were excited. We're like, I can do this because this big major athlete who's successful, he's doing it. Why can't I do it? It's fun. It's
in a team sport.
And nobody was like, oh, stop doing that. That's disrespectful.
People like when Dion did it.
And nobody in gym class felt offended when you did it against them.
There you go.
I don't get it. Maybe it has to be a generational thing. I just don't get it. I don't know what baseball. Baseball is so far behind.
But baseball is an old man sport right now, so that's why it's happening that way. Guys like Bryce Harper, Mike Trout, Stanton, Bautista acting this kind of way. Those kind of guys are going to be what changes the game to the younger market, but it needs to continue down the road. It's been continuing. I do think that baseball has gotten bigger this year. I do. It's been more followed.
Maybe. I mean, I've heard a lot of people say that. Actually, I just don't see it. But I don't know. I don't see the numbers. I don't look at numbers. I don't care enough to even look. But to me, when you're still holding back on these old ways, you're not helping your cause, regardless. I mean, let's say you got 100,000 new fans this year. That's great. I think that's fantastic. But you're still not hurting yourself because there's still going to be these people like me that's going to be like,
you got to figure out
this shady, this stuff just makes me not care.
Right. Yeah, I understand.
It's too robotic to me. So you got to change up with the times, man.
Well, that's our I'm just saying. Kind of impromptu, kind of about a lot of different things, but it was still good. Next week we'll definitely be diving into these playoffs a little more. So
we'll be one step closer to the finals.
Yeah. The NHL will probably be pretty close to Stanley Cup as well. So we'll have a lot to talk about. We'll definitely get into it.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for watching. I'm Jared Hood. That's Dwight Garfield.
Peace out.